Greetings and welcome to One Who Sees Tarot. This is an April reading for those of you who are born in the sign of Libra. Libra, welcome to my channel, One Who Sees Tarot. This is a general reading for people who are born in the sign of Libra. This is not a specific reading for any specific person, and everything during this reading will not necessarily resonate with each of you in the listening audience. However, some of it will certainly make sense, and some of it certainly will hit home. If you'd like to book a private reading, I will give that information at the end of the general reading. All right, Libra, let's look closely. Let's take a highlight. Let's look at some of the highlights. Now, this is not an astrological reading, but there are a lot of things that are taking place specifically in your 7th house and in your 6th house. So the Venus, which is the ruler of love, passion, and money, is retrograde in the beginning of the month in your 7th house of relationships. And that's causing you to look closely at your relationships and reevaluate those relationships and see if you want to stay in that relationship, or if you want to move on to another relationship, or are you giving your all, or is your partner giving their all, or is it time, if you're single, is it time for you to get out there and mingle and meet other people? So that's part of what you have happening with the retrograde Venus in the 7th house. And then around the 4th of the month, Venus will move into your 6th house. Your 6th house is the house of your daily routine. So and it will stay retrograde in that house until the 16th. When Venus is retrograde in that house, the 6th house, it's going to highlight your daily activities, your daily routine, your work, your 9 to 5. It will also highlight your health issues. It will also highlight whether or not you might need to do some self-improvement. And if that is not quite enough for you to think about for this month, you have Mercury, which is the planet for intelligence, communication, and travel. And Mercury is going retrograde in your 8th house, which deals with resources and some secret relationships. So it could be some secret relationships. It could be some resources from other entities, government entities, inheritances, taxes. It could be something like that. But Mercury is going retrograde in your 8th house, and then that's going back to your 7th house of relationships. Let's talk about Mercury for one hot minute. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's a time when you really have to be mindful of your communications and how you are extending your ideas to the public. What does that mean? That means that you should make sure you back up your hard drive. Make sure that if you're going to do some traveling, that you give yourself extra time. And make sure that you're mindful about reading contracts and or making commitments. Make sure that you review them carefully. Those are the things, the main points about Mercury retrograde. As Mercury moves into your 7th house and is retrograde in your 7th house of relationships, well, then again, you have to look at your communication with relationships. You have to look at information that's passed back and forth. Could it be misconstrued, misinterpreted? So be mindful of that during the month of April. Around the 11th of April, you have a full moon moving into your 1st house. Your 1st house is the house of identity, how you see yourself, how the world sees you. It is how you are identified, and basically it is the beginning of how you are interpreted in this world. So the full moon does not actually solve the problem. The full moon brings those issues to light. It brings your consciousness to begin looking at yourself and see if there's something about yourself that you need to work on. Interesting enough that when the full moon is happening in your 1st house, at the same time you have Venus in your 6th house, and that Venus is causing you to look at your creativity, look at how you're making money, look at your passions, look at whether or not you're happy. So that works out together. On the 26th of the month of April, you have a new moon in your 8th house, looking at outside entities, the resources from outside entities. And so you want to be mindful of that. Do get an astrological reading. Also check out your sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, Libra, let's look at the tarot card for the tarot card reading for the month of April. Libra, the advice, the initial advice is to tell you that you need to exercise your options. Apparently you feel, or you have been feeling, as if you did not have a choice in some things. And you do have a choice in some things, and you need to exercise your options and consider the option that's best for you. And you also need to rely more on your intuitive self, your intuition, your wise, the wise part of you. So whether you're masculine or feminine, Libra, you need to exercise your intuition. You need to exercise sort of like the yin energy and pay attention to the voice that's speaking to you inside so you can make wiser or better decisions. I do see in your past, Libra, there was a trip that was planned, and that trip has been postponed or delayed, and we'll look further in your spread and see if we can get some clarity or how that is going to work out or why it was delayed. Libra, if you are planning to take a road trip during the month of April, the advice from the tarot and from my spirit guide is that you should perhaps not take the road trip. It may not work out as well as you anticipate. In addition, Libra, you're being advised that you are obviously not in control of your life, and you perhaps need to get back in the driver's seat and take more control of your life, and particularly your emotions, which have a direct effect on your mind, on your thinking. I do see where, Libra, you need to forget about some of those past relationships, and you need to move forward, because right now it looks like you're crying over spilled milk, so to speak, and you need to get over it. You need to move on. I do see, Libra, where you need to focus more on your money, on your savings. I do see where money should become your main issue, not your emotions, and particularly not those emotions of poor and negative love affairs that you had in the past. I do see, Libra, where you are being advised that right now is a time for you to think deeply and to make careful steps. So I do see a partnership or a corporation or an agreement in your future. I do see that. So you're in a place right now where you're being offered some kind of cooperation, some kind of a partnership, some type of a corporate concept of relationship, a friendship that's either very deep or a partnership with a business entity. So it's being supported by the card that indicates that you should not jump out there, but you should look at the details before you jump, before you make your next move in the way of commitment. I do see where you're advised to slow down. It's okay if you make the next step. It's good for you to make the next step in your life going forward. At the same time, you're being advised to slow down and not be irrational and impulsive, because I do see a money offer. There is money being offered to you. I do see an offer for money, more resources, more abundance. And so because I see that, it's indicative that you should slow down and read the fine print. I do see in your future, Libra, I see two cards that indicate some interesting aspects. Both of these cards are the cards that symbolize or that kind of foretell pregnancy. So for those of you that are interested in having a child, or if you thought maybe you might be pregnant, well, you should perhaps, go to the doctor and consult with a physician and see if you are, because both of these cards are indicating that there is a pregnancy, that there is that there is a child that is growing. So if you're interested in having a child, then this is certainly good news for you. And for those of you that are not interested in having a child, then you should heed the advice of the cards. And I won't say any more than that. I do see where Libra, relying on a masculine energy for money is a problem. I do see where you should not rely on a masculine energy. For those of you that are masculine, the masculine energy could be it could be your boss, it could be a man that you're going to do business with. You should not rely on that person for money. You should check the fine print. Don't believe the hype. I do see, Libra, where you are going to be spending some money. So you spending some money, losing some money, you need to be mindful of that, because I do see you're in danger of spending money faster than you can earn it. So I do see that you need to be mindful of that. However, Libra, the advice that I'm seeing for you is that you do need to go back in your mind to a time when you were more creative. Go back in your mind to a time when you were happier. So apparently you must have gotten off track. You need to go back. You need to go back, not in the sense of going backwards, in the sense of going back and pulling from your past the things and the practices and the mindset that was healthy and happy. I do see, Libra, you're coming out of a transition period, which is a good thing. You're coming out of a period where you really were emotionally distraught. So it could have something to do with how this money is getting upset and how the spending is taking place faster than you can earn it. But please be advised, there is money coming. There's a money offer coming to you that is beneficial. I do see, once again, I do see where your structure was kind of it was kind of disturbed. While your structure was disturbed, that time period is coming to an end, and there is good news on its way to you. It's coming to you in the way of either a letter possibly, or a phone call, or an email, but I do see good news coming to you. The caveat, though, is that there's also some stuff coming to you in the way of romance. You are particularly vulnerable, so it seems, Libra. And so the romance that is being offered to you, if some of it appears to be too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true. So you need to be mindful of that. And once again, it goes back to this whole thing about taking your time and reading or listening to what someone is saying, and not just listening, but also hear what they're not saying. I do see, Libra, where you are being advised by the tarot, by the spirit guide, that you need to see things from a different perspective. I do see where you were hoping to move, or you were thinking about relocating, and right now that's kind of like at a standstill. So it doesn't appear as if you're going to be moving physically, but I do see where there is some light at the end of your mental anguish, because I do see where you're coming out of a state where things were going kind of slow for you as far as your plans. So if you plan to move, I do see that the cards are indicating that it's a possibility that you might be moving in the future, but you have to wait a few minutes until some things work themselves out, some things that are working themselves out spiritually and in the mundane world that you can't see, you can't understand, you can't see around the corner. I do see where there's a need, Libra, for you to get back to your balanced self. Libra being the sign of balance, I do see where you need to get back to your balanced self. I also see an end to your psychological and mental stress, which is good, but please be mindful. Don't be impulsive. And the reason why I say don't be impulsive is because if you take your time, moving forward gradually with a plan, I do see great stuff in your future. I do see all kinds of good things in your future. I do also see, for some of you, I do see that there's a possibility that you might be being offered a relationship, and that relationship is not a healthy relationship. And once again, at the same time, Libra, some of you, I do see a card that indicates either a baby being born, or it could indicate the beginning of a new project that is creative. So it could be a new creative project. Something is being born. But in many times when I do individual readings, this particular card indicates that there is a pregnancy somewhere. So if you're a masculine energy, maybe your girlfriend is pregnant. If you're a feminine energy and you're interested in having a baby, well, this is a very fertile time for you. So please be mindful and govern yourself accordingly. I do see an end, Libra, to some of that stress and some of that emotional anguish, that pain that you were carrying. I do see an end to it. And where I saw that there was some restriction and some juggling and some loss of money, once again, the cards are reiterating, and the spirit guide is reiterating that there is money coming to you. There's money coming to you. There's money as if it's falling from the sky. There's a good amount. There's a nice flow of resources coming to you. And I do see where you're going to regain your strength. So I do see that you're going to get your good footing back, and you're going to be on solid ground. You're being advised that people are looking at you to either recommend you or refer you for some kind of business adventure. So you need to be pleasant and mindful that the public is looking at you, and there is some expansion. There's some resources that are related to this public attention, or to this attention that you're getting on your job. Libra, that has been your reading, a general reading, not for everyone, but certainly there's a good amount of energy that I'm sure will resonate with Libras in my listening audience. If you'd like to book a private reading, please email me at onewhosees4you@yahoo.com. Thank you very much. Enjoy your April. Look forward to hearing from you and doing a private reading for you.